Hello, 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 and welcome to Updog Sports Talk. My name is Matt Miller. Joining me today is Intern Tones and Justin McGovern. What's going on, fellas?
Top of the morning.
We
Yeah.
are recording on a different day than we normally record, so we have our coffees instead of waters. So this will be pretty entertaining. Today, Justin, what are we talking about?
We are talking about the most hatingest division in the NFL, the AFC North.
Yeah, just straight up rock fight of a division. No domes, all elements. It's fantastic football. Um, Before we get into that, just want to tell everybody about who we are. So we're Updog Sports Talk. We like to stick up for the little guy. Justin being a Bills fan, Tony and I being Bengals fans. We've gone through our fair share of fandom turmoil. So we like to stick up for the less represented teams. So sit back, relax, and watch us evenly give out sports takes on each team. So AFC North, it's here, boys. The only bad defense in the division, Cincinnati Bengals. You can see that they're trying to keep the ship afloat, but it really only on offense. They gave Jamar Chase a big contract. They gave T a big contract. They fumbled Shamar Stewart's contract stuff, and Justin, you can get to that in a second. They still haven't paid Trey Hendrickson. Defense got shredded the other night in the preseason game with 6 starters out, so take that how you want it. But the players that the Bengals did bring in, Lucas Patrick, they brought Samaje Perine back, familiar face, TJ Slayton up the middle, Oren Burks for linebacker depth. So there's a few guys that they brought in that can help. Noah Fant, very underrated signing there at tight end. But they didn't go out and get a bunch of players. I feel like that they could have gone out and gotten Asante Samuel Jr. right now, a big free agent sitting out there. So Bengals, Mike Brown, Katie Blackburn, everybody else, sign Asante Samuel Jr. It can only benefit you. If you don't
We need help on defense. We're one of the worst defenses in the country. Best we could do is Noah Fant.
Yeah, for real.
We have 7 tight ends. That's a lot of tight ends, dude.
Well, Eric All is out for the year. Cam Grady and Tanner McLaughlin, I don't see them making the roster. So really 4. I think Tanner Hudson, Noah Fant, Drew Sample, Mike Gesicki. I think they already knew who they were going to have on the roster once Eric All went down with injury. Justin, they did do halfway decent in the draft. Tell us who they got.
Yeah, so the draft was definitely a little bit interesting. Shamar Stewart was their first round pick. Definitely more of a pick where you're betting on talent compared to production, because if we're being honest, the production just was not there for him. But definitely a talented player, so you're really hoping to develop him, which of course does not help that you didn't have him in the building most of the offseason. Demetrius Knight, though, was a guy that I really liked out of South Carolina. I think that was a really good pickup in the second round. You've got offensive lineman here, Dylan Fairchild, coming out of Georgia. A big offensive lineman who can help out. Already looks like he may help fill a need there, unseating Cordell Volson, who's a guy who has struggled up front. Again, we've seen this story for the Bengals for years now, where they've needed help on the offensive line, even though they continue to invest resources to it. You've got Barrett Carter, who was a nice sneaky pick at linebacker. And really, Taj Brooks may have been my favorite pick of the Bengals draft. Yes. He's a really good running back out of Texas Tech who can really factor into multiple ways. I always find myself liking these running back picks because it's just such a deep class. Yeah. So he was kind of one of the forgotten backs in this class, but he's a guy who could really end up contributing even later this year.
Couple things I noticed with the preseason game. Stewart, you could see flashes of his talent. He broke through the line, got a tackle for loss, but then got shoved down to the ground on another play. So it's like he's learning from Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson is teaching him some things, even though Trey is not on the field. So I think Stewart, as long as he remains to be a sponge, is going to take in the pass rushing stuff. I think overall he can be a better defensive end than Trey Hendrickson, because Trey just isn't in on rushing downs, and I think that's where Stewart is really good. Knight played well. Fairchild played well, but Taj Brooks came in and played super well. Took the bulk of the carries. Chase Brown looked really good. He was breaking a bunch of tackles. Jermaine Burton seems to have gotten his act together from last year and kind of is turning things around, so maybe he can contribute more on the offense. But the story is for the Bengals and will be for the next handful of years: Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. That's the team. If those three are not on the field, this team may be one of the worst in the league. But they got a lot going for them on offense. Probably one of the most potent offenses, too.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's really their strengths, the Holy Trinity. The Holy Trinity.
I think their strengths and weaknesses is very simple: strengths, offense, weakness, defense.
Yes, the whole functional area.
The Bengals were third last in rushing offense last year. So I think with how Chase Brown looked in the preseason, and then adding in Taj Brooks and Samaje Perine, I think you can have the bulk of the rushing offense go through Chase Brown, and you can have the bulk of the running back receiving yards go through Chase Brown. But Perine and Brooks are going to be a nice change of pace, going to get like the ball moving still. I think that was one thing that we noticed like missing with Joe Mixon left, is the production on the rushing side was out the window. But the best passing offense. The Lions were second best, and the Bengals still had almost 200 more yards on the Lions. Joe Burrow really could have won MVP last year if the Bengals just made the playoffs. If they have just won one of the early games, I think Joe Burrow actually could have snuck his way into the MVP conversation, because a lot of touchdowns, not a whole lot of turnovers. So defensively, though, kind of close to the bottom on everything. Mid-pack and some things, but they weren't near the top on really anything. Trey Hendrickson, if he can get 17.5 sacks for the third year in a row, I think model of consistency will say that he deserves a contract. It sounds like it's coming down to guaranteed money in the years 2 and 3. So they're really close to a contract. We'll see how that plays out in the coming weeks. Maybe after we record this, they'll probably come to a deal, and then this whole show is thrown out the window.
So we intentionally waited to do this episode last in this series because we wanted to see where this situation would unfold. So we have held out for a very long time trying to see if this would end up anywhere. But my take on it is the Bengals just need to get it done. Like, Trey Hendrickson is one of your most valuable pieces if you're actually going to be serious about trying to contend for a Super Bowl, which you should be when you have a quarterback like Joe Burrow. Like,
whoa. You almost called him Joe Flacco there.
No,
but Joe Flacco is elite.
I was trying to power through that. Not trying. We just talked about Joe Flacco a moment ago, but so it almost slipped out there. But yeah, you need him to step up. I mean, you need him in there if you're going to actually be serious about being a contender. And we saw a lot of nonsense this offseason, to be honest, with the Bengals, where it felt like they weren't serious about contending, even though they have a quarterback that should be able to help them.
What's weird about the Bengals is the decision makers on everything are the decision makers on everything. Whereas other organizations have a decision maker for county negotiations, a decision maker for roster moves, a decision maker for this, a decision maker for that. Seems like the same three people, Mike Brown, Katie Blackburn, and Duke Tobin, are the decision makers on everything. The Bengals had their stadium lease expire, and they were in contract negotiations. And that's why they weren't negotiating with Trey Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart.
The Bengals are like the least efficient organization that exists in this league.
I know.
It's honestly embarrassing. Like when you think about it. Like
the whole Shamar Stewart thing, that's the one thing I agree with the Bengals on, is not wanting, like, if like Shamar Stewart's whole thing was he wanted the clause taken out on if he was sitting in jail, as Mike Brown put it, that he still wanted money. I think his agent has a track record of getting fired by Zay Flowers, of getting J.K. Dobbins to sit out for contract-related stuff, handful of other things. So his agent has a track record with all this. I am on the Bengals side in that contract negotiation. I don't think you should have to play a guy if they decide to make a stupid life decision. The Trey Hendrickson thing alongside the Stewart thing was embarrassing. Pick one to embarrass yourself with, you know?
I think it's the optics of it, right? You have like one of the worst defenses in the league, and you're haggling over, millions of dollars, I guess. But, you're haggling with the sack leader. Optically, that just doesn't look good, and it doesn't make sense.
And I've talked to Trey Hendrickson. He's very open about what he wants. He'll tell, if you run into him on the street and you talk to him, he will tell you exactly what he wants. He wants multiple years, and he wants guaranteed money in those multiple years. The Bengals kept throwing a 1-year deal at him with like maybe a second year in the deal, but like an out after the first year. And he's like, no, I want to be around here. Like, he just bought a house. Like, he wants to be in Cincinnati. Like, I think if you look at like the way the Bengals run their team, they're trying to get better, but they're just not getting better. I think they've learned from the Carson Palmer fiasco, so I guess we're making steps here, but like the whole thing for outside looking in, if I wasn't a Bengals fan, I would be laughing at the Bengals the entire time.
We're the laughing stock. And think about this. The fish stinks from the head, right? Mm. Mike Brown's damn near 90 years old. Come on, guy. Move along. Go see what else is out there in the world.
Yeah.
Dude's
I mean,
relinquish control.
Mike Brown is taking vacations at the trade deadline in Switzerland. Like, how embarrassing is that?
Like, nope, we can't make any moves to get any better. We're busy over in Switzerland. like it seems like he just has this as his like cash cow, and he's really figured it out perfectly now. Like, you have a marketable quarterback, marketable receivers. You have an offense that's thrilling to watch. So you have all the things you need to fill up the stadium, but except for the fact that like you're not going to win as many games because you don't have a defense that can make stops. But again, defense isn't pleasuring to watch, but you need defense to win football games in the NFL.
Yeah, when the Bengals made it to the Super Bowl, they had a solid defense.
But that year, their defense on paper didn't look like they were going to be that good either. It was just, I think people stepped up and they made it happen. They got hot at the right time.
Lou Anarumo, great coach, love the guy, but I would put the blame on him for, and it's hard, it's hard to put the blame on like the entire team, on the entire defense. So like Lou Anarumo, what he was doing wasn't to the strength of each player. Geno Stone, when he was in Baltimore, led the league in picks, or was close to leading the league in picks. What Lou Anarumo had him do last year was not the same thing. Al Golden's getting back to those basics, giving Geno Stone more of like a free safety role, having him deep and covering instead of being up. And I think that's going to be the difference in the secondary. I think Al Golden is going to change things around. It just wasn't a great look in the preseason. Having backups destroy some of your young starters isn't a good look. But the reason why the Bengals are going to win games is Joe Burrow is going to be prepared. T. Higgins is in a new role. He's not just that big outside receiver now. They're lining him up, doing everything now, so they're teaching him more on how to be a better all-around receiver. And Jamar Chase is the best wide receiver in the league. So when you have top 3 quarterback in the league, you have a number 1 receiver, and you have another top 15 receiver, top 20 receiver, you're going to win a bunch of ball games. You're going to rely on Trey Hendrickson getting back there and the bend not break defense coming back instead of the bend over defense.
Fish stinks from the head.
The fish stinks from the head, dude.
Follow us at Updog Sports Talk on everywhere on the internet. YouTube, YouTube Music. You can find us on Spotify, which I gotta work on getting the rest of the episodes on there. Podbean, iHeartRadio. We're on Reddit, X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Follow us everywhere. We love interacting with people, so feel free to comment on our stuff. All of our news and updates go through X. Just best place to follow us on X. If content coming out on Instagram. But yeah, that was the AFC North. We are going to go live in the fall. Justin is wrapping up college football previews, so if you are a college football fan, definitely follow along with his videos as well. And we will catch you guys live this fall. See you guys.